Okay, today we are moving to something very, very interesting. So we'll be looking at how to write original research paper. So we already know we have more than just one research paper. So can someone unmute their mic and tell me the different type of research paper that we have? Just make list any that you know. Anyone?
Commentary.
Yeah, we do have the comment research paper. Who else? Who can name another one? Okay.
We have research and review article as well.
Yeah, we have review articles. So we have original research, we have review article, we have commentary research paper, we have letter to editor, and we have different type of review paper. We have the narrative paper, we have the scoping review, sorry, narrative review, we have the scoping review, we have the meta-analysis, and we have one I can't remember currently. Okay, so today we want to discuss about original research paper, which is basically the final year thesis, the one we write for our dissertation. Okay, so we have two different types of research paper. Let me just write it here. Yes, thank you very much. So today it will be we have primary research. Okay, so we have primary research and secondary research. Those are the the major types of research paper. So what is primary research? Primary research is just original research paper. While secondary research are the other types of research we've mentioned earlier. That is the research article, sorry, the review articles, the commentary, the letter to editor. Those ones they are secondary research article. So the primary research article we also call it original research paper. So and this is what we want to look at today. We section it. This today will be just introduction to original research paper. We do it just the way we did commentary. A day we focus on in the introduction, then the other day we focus on the method, then the other day we focus on the discussion. So that's how we do this original research paper. So let me just remind you what we've achieved in this training session. We've we've taught ourselves how to write a commentary research paper, how to write narrative review, how to write scoping review. So this is the fourth one, how to write original research paper. So by the time we are done with this, we will write. I will also taught. I will teach us how to write systematic analysis. Yes, how to write systematic analysis. Then maybe meta analysis also. Then we are done. Basically, we are done with everything because we've done commentary. What else? I think we've done review. Okay, we'll look at review, commentary. Okay, I will look at what we have on our team of work, so we know what to do next after this one. But we are almost done basically. That's where I'm doing. That we are almost done. We have just a few things to look at. Okay, so we have original research paper. From the word original, and I want to make it more relatable. We know that when you want to from the word original, you are doing something novel, something no one has ever done before. So that's why most of the research in pioneering research are usually done in because it is something no one has ever done before. You are trying to make a discovery, you are trying to make an innovation, or try to find a novel discovery or something like that. So I'm trying to make a novel research that no one has ever done before. So The first thing is you want to look at the topic, or you want to look at what someone has done before. So that would form the basis of what you want to do. Now let's say you want to look at the correlation of um having so much online presence on academic performance. I know a lot of people will have done that, but I'm just using that as an example. You want to look at the correlation. Okay, do we have what's the correlation of being present online presence, and academic performance? So you want to confirm. Maybe it may just be an hypothesis that you have in your mind. Maybe some people who have more online presence, they tend to do poor. They tend to do poorly in their academic. So you want to know if there is a correlation, and how do you go about that? You will not just use the findings other researchers have used. You want to use maybe survey. We have um two type of experiment actually. We have the dry lab and the wet lab. So the wet lab is are all the experiments that you do in the lab, right? So it depends on the department, but any experiment that you're doing in the lab is called wet lab experiment. So we also have the dry lab experiments. So the dry lab experiment are all the experiment that you are doing outside the lab. So we have the questionnaires, we have the computational research. Computational research is done when you are into CADD, that is drug design, computer-aided drug design. Uh, we have the survey. Survey is also done in PCL majorly, clinical pharmacy. And I know there are different courses that also distribute survey, such as medicine. I don't know the departments in medicine, but I know medicine students also distribute survey, questionnaire, those things. They are, and oral interview. They are what we call dry lab. That is any experiment that has been done outside the lab is what we call dry lab. So now there are so many things we need to put into consideration when we want to start writing our research paper. So the first thing we want to do will be what is the original research paper? So now let's define it. What is original research paper? Mm. So now let's continue. So what's original research paper? So we've discussed that original research paper is the research paper that you write, that you are actually the one um that make the discovery a novel discovery. So that's what we call original research paper. So what are the things we need to factor in when we are trying to do original research paper? First one, you are trying to create a new data. You want to get your data. You don't want to believe whatever other researchers have put in their manuscripts. You don't want to, maybe you want to believe at the end, you may actually compare the results. Let's say you are trying to compare the pharmacological significance of a natural product. Let's say in this case, you are trying to use quinine, or let me use something easier, moringa, right? We know everybody know what moringa is, right? So you want to look at the pharmacological importance of moringa on diabetes. Maybe you want to compare it with another thing, maybe uh Velonia amygdalina, that's bitter leaf. So you want to compare the pharmacological importance of moringa with bitter leaf. You want to know which one has the better pharmacological outcome. You understand? So you may actually compare that at the end, but in a way you are getting a new data. Remember, this is a original research paper. You are getting when you formed your when you conceptualize your research topic. So you want to get new data. There are different way, depend on the topic. Is it wet lab? Is it um, dry lab? Then you want to do your analysis. Data analysis is very, very important when you are doing original research paper because you want to look at the correlation. Let's say the topic we are looking at is what's the okay, I think I've said one earlier. What's the significance or what's the correlation that people that have that have more online presence tend to fail in their academics. So we want to look at the analysis. Maybe after you are done with your questionnaire, you want to put it, you want to analyze it using the analytics tool. Then you want to look at the correlation. What's the correlation between this online presence and student um, outcome, right? Student academic outcome. You understand? You want to look at then you want to compare both of them. You are getting a new data, remember, and you're also getting you're also doing the analysis. So that would be the first thing you want to factor in. Then another thing, which is actually the first thing, is specific research question. If you don't have a specific research question that you're trying to solve, you cannot just open your laptop and start writing original research paper. There's something that will push you. Okay, I actually want to know. Okay, I was in a lab one day. I remember one someone just was doing toothpaste. So you just think, okay, what if a lot of people, I think they were gisting actually. They were gisting and they were gisting and um, during the conversation, someone said they children swallow toothpaste, right? So and the person was like, okay, since children and even some adults actually swallow toothpaste, why not that toothpaste that's been swallowed? Why it should be useful? You understand? So they are trying to make toothpaste to cure diarrhea, even though it is toothpaste. That means if it will be what we call it. It will clean the teeth, right? It will kill all the microorganism in on the teeth. Also, whenever it is being swallowed, mistakenly, it will cure diarrhea. That is, it will kill all the microorganism causing diarrhea in the stomach. So in a way, it is a win-win situation. So when it was checked, the experiment has not been done before, right? So that's the specific research question. The research question is that, okay, how do I make this the remains of or the mistakenly swallowed part of toothpaste? How do I make it not harmful? That's the research question. So the research question is not may not be defined. It may actually be an hypothesis. We want to look at the hypothesis is okay, maybe people that eat more sugar tend to have diabetes. You understand? You want that's an hypothesis. It's not necessarily correct, right? But you want to look at that. So that's the research question also. There's not necessarily the something you are so sure of. You might just have an assumption of something. So also we have the next thing is rigorous methodology. Obviously, final year is always tasking because they say there is what do you call it? There is final tests. They are conducting experiment and stuff. So the methodology is usually rigorous because you don't want to be biased, right? So which is something you have to factor in. And I want to also teach us how to write the method. So the second thing you want to look at will be understanding assignment and journal requirements. Journal requirements. So Okay. So the first thing is understand the assignments and journal requirements. Okay, that will be the second thing you want to look at. Okay, you want to look at the journal you want to submit to. Actually, this is not effective in Nigeria because most of the final year research after you defend you are done defending your research, you just that's all. You don't want to publish it in Nigerian university. I don't know why, but majorly, if you want to, the first thing you're actually supposed to do in a working country is that you actually want to know the journal you want to submit to. You want to look at all the guidelines, all the specific section. You want to verify the instruction. And let's just go online and let's see how we can do this. So now we have different type of journal. We have plenty journals out there. So and we one thing about journal is just like departments. So you cannot just go to a department and expect all course being taught right exactly. That's the way journal is. So if I write journal of, can you see, we have one for gerontology. I think we have, if I should write G, and if you have journal of psychology, that means this journal is only accepting any information about psychology. This one is only accepting any information about physics, any information about pediatric dentistry, any information about public health. So you can you don't want to submit your manuscript to a journal that says it is accepting any research paper. That's what we call pediatric journal. We actually still look at that at the end of his original research paper. So pediatric journal is just there are scams everywhere. So pediatric journal is just like the scams of journals. So let's just pick philosophy or let's say journals of pharmacology. So the first thing you want to let's look at the first one. Okay, this is pharmacology, right? This thing looks pediatric to me. Okay, let's use another one. I'm not satisfied with this one I'm looking at. Now let's look at this. Okay, the first thing you want to click on is the publish button here. So let's go for guide for author. That would be the first thing you're actually supposed to do. Now, I already have my research question in mind. So I want to look at, okay, if I'm actually supposed to submit, what are the things? Where do I want to submit it to? So let's say I want to submit, I'm doing something about neurology, and I want to submit my manuscript um, to Journal of Clinical Neuroscience. So the first thing I want to look at is I want to look at the guide for authors, that is whoever wants to be an author. So let's see what type of paper. The first thing is they said case report will not be considered and should not be submitted as any article type. So you don't want to write a report research paper and submit it to this journal. They will just reject it. So those are the things that lead to rejection of manuscript. So the first thing is you can see that they actually accept original research. That means if you see original research and you can see the word limit is 5,000 words. So you are not just submitting any type of any paper there. You already know that okay, this paper, this journal I'm submitting my stuff to, the the um the most words words that must be in my manuscript should be 5,000, even though it is actually advisable that it should be lower than the word limit. So we can see the abstract. They want structured abstract. I think I've taught us the different type of abstract. You have the unstructured abstract. You have the structured abstract. Now this is where it comes into play. So we also have background, right? The just type of abstract. You have that is background information. Then you have methods, which is the like structured abstract. Then they said for original research, it should be structured in IMRA structure. Can you see we have IMR? So there shouldn't be any discussion, but after results it should be conclusion. Which is why I said most of the time the journal you are trying to submit, you are submitting your manuscript to um will be the determining factor of how you write your research paper. So you may actually think that okay, original research paper is supposed to follow the IMRA structure. But this research paper, Journal of Clinical Neuroscience says, no, for my own original research paper, in as much as you are submitting a paper, a manuscript to me, you should follow this structure: introduction, method, result, and conclusion. That means your discussion will be under your conclusion. Do you get under the heading of conclusion? So we can see human research study must include information on research ethics and informed decision. So if you are doing this review article, you will look at this stuff too. So you can see there is nothing like what do you call it? There's nothing like commentary research paper currently. Okay, there's actually commenting. Okay, this one is invited commenting. So I don't think there is commentary research paper. So you don't want to write a commentary research paper and submit it here. They will just reject it. So because it has already been said that it is only invited commenting. So that's one. Now let's look for another journal. Please, are you with me? Can you write an emoji right here? So let's look at ethnopharmacology. I cannot find the author thing. So let's do that. And probably the link is not correct for this one. Or maybe this is not their main link. No, we are just searching for any journal. So let's look for them. Okay, I think this is the real. But let's search. Okay, let's look for another one. Let's say phytomedicine. This is not the real data set, the real link. So they are just redirecting me to, I think they call this one SCM or something. I can't remember. I can't see the what's the name of this journal? I think you have journal this year something like that. So let's see, general. I think you have Mobed journal or something like that. I'm not just sure. Mobed journal. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, let's look at submission guidelines. So let's see. So we can see something like access subscription, 815. We still look at all these things. So let's click on submitting your manuscript. So let's look at the type of paper. They said the article must be within the scope of the journal and be of sufficient quality. As if not, it will not be reviewed. So please read the aim and scope of to see if you're okay. They said the article types. So let's click on this link. Okay, from this thing, I'm seeing that it will be it will be original research. We have randomized trials, we have interventional study, we have cross study, we have case control, we have observational, we have survey, we have qualitative study. So it's looking like the original article. Okay, I've said it. We have original article here and experimental study. Okay, you can see they are limited to what 5,000 words, excluding tables, figure, and reference. Longer word counts may be allowed at editor's discretion if discussed in advance of submitting. So you want to know that okay, this journal only stage journal, you not even accept other type of research paper except from original research paper. So the first thing you want to look at is what type of paper or where are you submitting your journal to. So I don't want to waste too much time. So let's go back to where we are. So verify the instruction uh, of your paper, of your journal, sorry. So the next thing you want to do is what? You want to choose a research topic. So let's choose a research topic. I think I've taught us how to conceptualize a research topic there. So now, um, so let me just write some stuff like select. Okay, then then the last one. Okay, so you want to choose a research topic. So the first thing is select a specific topic. How do you actually conceptualize the research topic? The first thing is if you want the more you read research paper, the more you have the idea of conceptualizing a research topic. So if you're actually passionate about, let's say you're passionate about early education or child education, is early adult education or what they call it. So if you're passionate about adult education, you want to look at all the research paper in adult education then there will be an inspiration that will actually say, okay, this part have not been touched. Now let's say for example, um I am a pharmacology, sorry, let's say I'm a pharmacognostic guy, that is people that deal with herbal and stuff. Now someone has done the effect of herbal products um on chronic disease, right? So I've seen that, okay, that's herbal products. But what about natural products? We have there is a difference between herbal product and natural product. Herbal product are all the products that are gotten from herbs, right? While natural product are all the products that can be gotten from living or anything that are natural, that are from the earth, right? So maybe rock, mountain, marine animal, plants, animal. So I want to look at the therapeutic outcome of natural product on chronic disease. Even though what you've done, what you've done is just what has been done before is just the effect of herbal products on chronic disease. So that's because I've already read that, okay, this thing has been done. That's when I can actually um that's when I can conceptualize the topic. So the more you read, so it is actually advisable that you select a topic for your lecturer than your lecturer selecting a topic for you. Because if you select a topic for yourself, you will enjoy the process because you are actually the one that selects it. It's more like when you get admission to the course of your interest, you will be happy to study it. I don't know, well, you'll be happy to study. But if you are given the course, I don't think you'll be that happy or enthusiastic to study that course. So basically, that's how research question is. So you once you know your interest, once you find your interest early, the best thing is to read more paper on it, find a research topic, allow for find a research topic, then develop conceptualize the research topic. That is something new, something novel that has never been done because this is original research paper. The next thing you want to consider while choosing a research topic, you want to know, okay, this thing, does it favor discussion, a lot of discussion? Because original research paper is something you don't want to write a brief or concise information on or the information about the topic. So you want to write you want to expatiate on the um on the intricacy of that topic. You understand? So you also want to formulate a clear question. I think I've always said your research question should always be something driving you. So it might be an hypothesis, it might be a clear and direct question. The next thing you also want to look at is conducting. Let's try this. Preliminary development places. Okay, let's look at our literature. Okay. And let's look at this. The next thing you want to look at is conducting a preliminary research. I've told us that we have different type of preliminary research, that is different type of experiments. They have the dry lab and the wet lab. So I expect us by now that we should know the difference between them. So you want to gather a literature. So I think I've actually explained this thing. So you actually gather a literature just because you want to conceptualize a research topic. You want to look at what has been done before. So you actually know where there is a research gap. So you can actually fill it. Basically, that's what we mean by research question. So there are science need new innovation. to make it more advanced. So you want to gather all the literature that talk about the research question that you have in mind. So then when you are done, when you gather all the literature, you want to identify the research gap. Like, okay, all these things have been done. Let's say what else? What else? What's explain another example that I can use? Let's explain. Let me look at another thing. Let's say the effect of a particular drug in pregnancy or gestational mother. So you already know the effect of that drug. Those that has been done. So they've also said something, or there's a research paper on all the safety, all the drugs that can be used by a gestational mother and pregnant woman. So what else? So you've seen, let's say those are the two things that have been done on those and that topic, right? So the next thing is, okay, what are the complementary therapeutic plan? That is that sorry, complementary therapeutic drug that can be used by this gestational woman or pregnant woman. So you want to know what are the complementary, even though they've done, these are the drugs that they should use. These are the effects. These are the these are the consequences of not using this. They've done everything there, but no one has done what do you call it? Alternative drug that can be used during pregnancy or during the gestational period. You understand? So you have to gather literature to actually identify the research gap. Then you can now develop a thesis. Okay, maybe you want to say um still on the same gestational mother and pregnant woman. So you want to see, okay, I feel like aspirin is good for gestational woman and uh or the last one and pregnant woman. So that's just the thesis. So now you now create a lot of research. You will test this on different pregnant women, even though those are not safe. But there's actually, before you start conducting panel research, you will collect something, we call it ethical, is it ethical license or something like that? Sha? So you shall collect that ethical stuff. Then that means you cannot just choose any patients except with their consent. Okay, now let's look at the last thing. So okay, now I think with this, you already know that, okay, this is my research paper. You already know what the research, what the research original research paper is. So you already know what or the journal you'll be submitting your research paper to. You already know the guideline, the structure. Okay, this particular journal is accepting the IMRA structure or the non-structured structure. You understand? So you have chosen your research topic by filling a research gap and with a novel idea. You understand? So you've developed your thesis, you've conduct your preliminary um, research, which is dry lab or wet lab, it depends on what you are working on. So you've done all those things. That would be the stage one. So the next thing is, what is the structure? What is the normal structure of research paper that we know before? So the normal structure is what is structure of research paper. Structure of original research paper. So we have the IMORAD structure. I feel like by now we all know what IMORAD is. So IMORAD structure, I stands for introduction, M stands for method, R stands for result, the A is actually silent, then D stands for discussion, right? Then the last one, obviously, there will be conclusion. Also, there will be abstract before introduction, there will be conclusion, there will be reference, right? So this one I was sure, which is why I'm not doing it. Okay, so we have introduction. Introduction is basically what we've done the other day. So I'll just say a brief thing about introduction. Then tomorrow we'll actually look at how to write the introduction, or let's say we move to the next part of original research paper. So both of them are actually important. So introduction, I've actually explained what introduction is the last time we were discussing about commentary research paper. So you actually start from the brief introduction or the background information about um about your topic. You understand? Let's say you are saying something about the alternative drug that can be used by pregnant women, or let's just say we are focusing on pregnant women at different trimester. So the first thing is you want to tell us, you want to give a brief introduction about how how drug has affected people ignorantly, because they don't know that this particular drug is not good for them, for the mother earth, or it can cause congenital problems to the infant or to the fetus. You understand? So you want to just give us the brief introduction. I think I've explained it, and use some statistics to back it up. You understand? Those are the things we've discussed before. So then after you've given a brief introduction, let me just form one in my head. Now, let's say we are all about pregnant women now, the drugs that can be used. So you want to start with um, a lot of lives has been cut short, both the pregnant woman and the child. Will I call it child or fetus now? Pregnant woman and the fetus, yeah. Pregnant woman and the fetus. But fetus is not actually considered a living thing. So you want to say child. So yeah, you want to know there are some things you want to factor in, because most of the people you are sending most of the editor of your manuscript will be American, will be people that believe in the queer, is it queer, what do you call it, queer nature of life, you understand? All these, I don't know, people with, I don't know if it is weird belief, or people with other belief that we not consider normal in Nigeria, you understand? So you want to put them, you want to consider them to when you are writing your manuscript. You understand? You can just start with a lot of lives have been lost, both the mother and the infants. I think that's better. You understand? Both the number of the infants due to ignorantly taking of drugs. Over 60 million women have been lost in the past year. You understand? And this has caused for a general public concern. So the research gap is that there is a lot of ignorant women that are just taking anyhow drug. So you are trying to propose a drug that are better for each trimester. You understand? So you can just say, okay, um, it is it is high time we proposed, or we highlighted important, or you understand? You just join all your words together just to show that you actually care. You are joining the introduction, the first sentence with your research gap. Then you make it flow. Then you actually develop your thesis. Okay, this is the objective of writing this research paper. This is the research gap I'm trying to fill. These are the aims and objectives. What are the significance of this research paper? Then that's all for introduction. I think we've discussed this yesterday. I'm sorry, I said yesterday, sometimes before. So tomorrow we actually expatiate on how to write introduction. We do some theoretical aspects on how to write introduction of the original research paper, of an original research paper. Okay. Do you have any question before we call it a day? Do we all understand what was being taught today? Okay, if you do understand, please can you type an emoji? Okay, someone has a question. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello, good evening. Yeah, thank you.
Good
Class was
evening.
able. So my question is not exactly about the class per se, because the last time we
Okay.
finished commentary research, you told us that if anybody had any personal,
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello. I don't know. I think you lost your network. I can't hear you anymore. I can hear you if you are talking though. Hello, are you there? Okay. Who else has a question?
Sorry, I did not get what you said. My network is bad. I was
Yeah, I did not hear your complete question. I did not hear the complete question.
okay. I said the last niche commentary research. You told us that if anybody
Okay.
had any personal they want to work on, that they can message you about it. But I don't know if it's the same for narrative review because finished it, did not say anything there. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, no one has messaged me. So I was expecting this question. This question. So the first thing is we actually let me stop recording. Um